Welcome back to Connect and Transform. We're continuing our work on a text comparison tool for the web. What I have on screen here is on the left-hand side is the project as it existed at the end of the last video, and then on the right-hand side is the project as it exists today. I added a class name for buttons, and you can see that at the very top. There's 3 buttons in the black control area: download left file, hide exact match lines, and download right file. Those are classified as buttons, and so I added some styling for it. I also modified some of the rules, and I'll show that in a demo in just a moment. But basically, the gist of it is I'm showing green or some variant of green if it's an exact match or a white space related difference, and I'm showing blue if it's a comments, single line comments related change. So if the line is exactly the same except it starts with / or a pound symbol when you've removed all the white space, then we treat that as a comments only change. Now, of course, depending on the language, that may or may not be true, but again, this is not intended to be a code analysis tool, it's a text analysis tool. And then at the end of the last video, we just had some sample text in the top control area. We just said controls go here. I've added 3 spans that each have their own on-click event calling their own function. So we have a download file function that's used for the left and right buttons, and then we have toggle exact match functions. In fact, I'm going to click on this center button here, hide exact match lines. And so obviously you can see that there's a lot less on the screen when you toggle that. So we've already touched on changes up to this point. And then I'm storing as a variable the left and right file name. So we're grabbing that off of the uploaded file, and then we're going to reuse it for these 2 download buttons. And then made some minor changes to these event listeners to use our left and right file name variables. So this is basically just clearing those out on that particular event. And then for these, I commented them out. And so the reason that these do not appear as blue is because the actual content is different. There's a greater difference than just the comment at the front. But for this one that is in blue, the text value of that line is identical, with the exception that it has a single line comment preceding it. And so that is shown in blue. And then we have some assignments for the left and right file name, and it's hard to tell where that is in the code. That's actually in the code where we are handling the upload of the file. So if I toggle that back on and we go to this function load file, we can see that those assignments are happening there. And then here I've added a function for download file and a function for toggle exact match lines. Go over the easy one first, toggle exact match lines. We're just querying everything with line and exact class names. And then for each of those things, we're either setting display to block or display to none, depending on whether the button is currently displaying the text hide exact match lines or show exact match lines. And then download file, we're passing in the element itself, the button element, and then decide whether it's right or left. So we're constructing a file name. We're making sure to precede it with edited underscore, and the reason for that is so that you don't accidentally overwrite a file when you don't mean to. And then we're going to go grab either the left or right file name. And if there is no extension on the file, we're just going to add .text to the end of it. So then we're going to get our blob contents, which are going to be from file contents left or file contents right. Now, the one thing we've not yet implemented is to actually edit these 2 things. So in the future, when we add functionality to shift either a line or a group of lines from one file to the other, effectively what we're doing is we're updating 1 or more line values in these arrays. And then these arrays will be used here in the download file function. We're creating a new blob. with just type defaulting to text plain. And then we're instantiating a new download link. We're creating an anchor tag, giving it an href using this url.createObjectURL file blob, setting attribute download to the file name, calling click on it, and then after some very short delay, we're going to call this url.revokeObjectURL just to clean things up. So a couple new functions, some styling for buttons, and then we added that rule for the comments. And so that's essentially what this block is. It's showing like half of one block and half of another, but good enough. Right, and then this is related to that same, just adding an additional rule for comments, so just a slight modification there. And then I think this might have just been a this was a white space change. So here I had a space after the tabs and I removed that so that things lined up more appropriately. And I think that's it. I don't think there were any other changes. It was basically just adding a rule for the comments, adding some styling for buttons, and linking those buttons to some functionality. So I've already demonstrated the center button here to hide and show exact match lines. And I can download left file. That triggers this box here. And you can see it is preceded with edited underscore. I'm going to cancel out of that. I can also download the right-hand file. And so this one is also edited underscore. And so this is the right-hand file, text-compare.htm. And this one is edited underscore text-compare-vid8. So I think about the only things left is to maybe add a button to swap the two files, maybe add a button to go back and make new choices on which files to compare. And then down here in the lines to actually have some UI function to shift either a line or a group of lines over to the other side. And then I think at that point, my objectives for this project will have been met. I think real quick, I'm going to hide the debugging info where it says rule. Oops, wrong one. I'm going to scroll up to the top of our file. And right here, .rule, I'm just going to say display none. So we'll save that. We'll go back to our text compare. And I'm going to refresh it, and then we'll select the state of things at the end of the last video, and then the current state of things. So now our rules are no longer there, taking up space and serving as extra information to read. So yeah, that's just a quick update on where things are at, and we'll continue making progress and get this done soon. Thank you for watching.